Hi everyone, it's Laura from Mindful Matters. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a practice called Tonglen meditation. It's a type of compassion mindset and a way of practicing compassion for ourselves and others, especially during times when perhaps we have someone who's really hurting in our lives. It may be people you don't know that are experiencing trauma and pain, and whether they're close to us and we know them, or they're somewhere else in our community, world, universe. Sometimes it feels so hard to not be able to help and make things better for them. And this practice is a way of getting grounded and imagining sending them help, receiving, holding their pain, and then sending them a lightness and healing and whatever words you'd like to use. Many spiritual paths offer guidelines on how to be more compassionate. And by and large, a compassion meditation focuses on the wish to alleviate suffering. So, suffering is a part of life. There's really no way around it, and it's obviously a spectrum. Little sufferings, like you didn't get the seat on the airplane that you wanted, or you ordered some takeout and the order's wrong, to really big, all caps, suffering, genocide, war, death, grief. So there's a whole lot that's in between, and to wish to alleviate suffering, either for ourselves or for others, is a willingness to acknowledge that there is suffering in our lives and in the lives we care about. And so often we have this tendency to respond to unpleasantness, aka suffering, by thinking and saying, how do I avoid it? How can I help those I care about escape it? And this meditation works with accepting the presence of suffering and using it to open our hearts. And that urge to escape pain and discomfort, it's deeply ingrained in our prehistoric brains as a survival mechanism. So it's not that you're doing anything wrong or we're doing anything wrong. However, rejecting what's happening only adds to the discomfort and jacks it up a little bit more. So it sounds a little counterintuitive, but acknowledging that the suffering exists and sitting with it and feeling with it, it really does help our own well-being and our way of going through life. So there's so many unwelcome situations we can't correct. We have no control over. Separations, losses, illness, failures, injustices, pandemics, upheavals, catastrophes, just to name a few. So instead of reacting with our kind of normal stress and suffering reactions, like fight, flight, freeze, fawn, this is a practice we can use to accept the present moment as it is, open our hearts and connect with others as human beings, and then make the most of that composure and compassion to help or fix what can be fixed. And not everything can. So this is called Tonglen practice, and it begins with some breath awareness and then continues with a wish to establish things in happiness and free anyone, ourselves and others, from suffering, just to take a little bit of that weight off. And this wish is often expressed in an image, and so I'll walk you through it a little bit before I lead the meditation. You imagine as you're exhaling that you're sharing the light of peace and balance, freedom, well-being, and its causes with everyone and anyone who needs it. You might have a specific person, you might have a specific community, so it can be as direct, like one person, to however large, inclusive you want it to be. And then as you inhale, you relieve things, including yourself, relieving with the breath darkness and distress and its causes. And then on the out breath, imagine soothing rays of light, maybe moonbeams, just color, some kind of energy that fills this person, this community, or the world, the universe, with a healing power. Now, I know that sounds a little hippy-dippy, and I'm not saying that our breath is going to create world peace. Don't get me wrong. But when we can be mindful and in the moment and imagine someone in whatever distress and pain and suffering they're in, and we want to help, but there's not a tangible way to do that, we can almost breathe in and take on some of their pain to lighten their load. And we don't hold on to it then we exhale and let it go. But basically in a way of, I can hold this for you, to someone you care about. So with the in-breath, you're taking in, you can imagine maybe a smoky or a pitch-like darkness as that suffering, that pain of whoever, individual or large group, and inviting it in, knowing that you can hold it briefly. That pause relieves yourself of that stuckness of, I can't do anything, and imagining, I'm going to take this on for a moment, and then that darkness gets transformed with your intention to take the load and the natural goodness and balance and peace of your heart. So there are many, many different ways to practice Tonglen, traditional and modern, but the simplest form is simply connecting motivation and breath while you meditate. It's essentially accepting and holding the unpleasant and then sharing the pleasure, the joy, the balance, even if it's just one breath. When we soothe out compassion, breathing out a soothing light of compassion, it touches that object, whatever it is, that person, animal, group whose situation touches our hearts. That exhale of compassion touches that object of compassion, bringing some comfort and peace both ways. And then there's an invitation to expand to others or a wider group. And it's a very profound practice. The first time I learned about it, I honestly thought it was a little woo-woo. And then most compassion meditations, I have found that they help in a way that is sort of profound and personal. So let's give it a try. See what you think. As always, anything that I invite you to do is completely up to your comfort level. So when I say close your eyes, if that's not comfortable for you, you can gently rest your gaze. We're all different. Our breath is all different. Our bodies, our experiences, and there is universal suffering that we all have had and will continue to have, and some of it is very specific and private and personal. So this is a personal practice. So to start, go ahead and get settled in wherever you are, sitting or lying down comfortably, settling in, letting go or break just for a little while. Begin to notice your breath. Just noticing, just observing, some gentle focus, breathing in and out. And with every inhale, try to be present with breathing in. And as you breathe out, try to be present with breathing out. You might find counting helps with that. So on the inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. And exhale gently, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or maybe on the inhale, you say to yourself, here. And on the exhale, now. For now, to keep it simple, stick with one of those techniques to try and keep your focus on your breath. And thoughts and emotions will arise because we're human, that's how our brains work. See if you can let them go gently. You don't need them right now. It's just a thought. It's just a feeling. You can imagine them, each thought or feeling, like a leaf floating down a stream away. And if you really need it, it'll come back later. Letting go of anything that happened earlier today, this week, this month. And anything happening later today, this week, this month. And as many times as you need to, return to connecting with your breath. Now I invite you to link an intention to the breath. On your next exhale, breathe out light, balance, goodness, your wish to alleviate pain and suffering. You can even give it a color if you want. And on the inhale, invite the smoky darkness of negativity and suffering to enter your heart, where you can hold it briefly and transform it into lightness. You can hold it, but not forever. Imagine your initial object of compassion as a frightened stray dog or cat cowering in a cage at an animal control facility. Begin this exchange by breathing in the darkness of their fear, isolation, and bewilderment, so that they are relieved of it. And as you breathe out, your affectionate heart radiates soothing, gentle energy. Imagine them as light beams that touch, reassure, and comfort them. Imagine that dog or cat or any animal you choose becoming confident and happy, cared for and loved as they should be. Now you can extend your meditation to other scared animals, other caged animals, all being stuck behind bars and so on. Breathing in the darkness of their distress. Breathing out the light of freedom and peace and love. Imagine their relief and allow it to touch your heart. You can expand this circle of goodwill. The scope of your imagination is the only limit. Breathe out happiness and its causes. Breathe in suffering and negativities, transforming it, allowing your heart's natural goodness to shine unreservedly and touch the world with its grace. Stay there with attention on your breath for a little longer. This practice of Tonglen can be simple or elaborate, can be practiced on the spot anytime you encounter distressing, unwelcome situations in everyday life, as well as on a cushion or chair as part of your meditation practice. It's very adaptable. The wish is to help others at its core. Create space to be compassionate even when faced with unacceptable, challenging circumstances, people, emotions, and information. And accepting what we and others are struggling with does not equal resignation or saying it's okay. It gives a sense of agency, presses pause, and takes the factors that compound distress, a sense of isolation, lack of connection, self-focus, and rejection of what it is, and turns it around, even if it's just a little bit. It helps us realize that pain and suffering is not necessarily a mistake or a problem that needs solving. It's simply part of the human condition. So as we come to the end of this meditation, deepen your breath a little, filling your belly and diaphragm and chest with air, energizing, nourishing. And on the exhale, letting the chest and diaphragm and belly relax. You can invite a little movement into your fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, only when you're ready, stay with this as long as you want. Gently open your eyes if they're closed. Come back to the space you're in. And take a moment to notice how you feel right now. Just noticing, nothing to fix, nothing to judge. It's with curiosity. And that's just one little way of practicing Tonglen. There's a lot of things online that you can learn more about it and practice, but I hope this was a nice little taste to try it out. Take good care, everyone. Peace. Thank you for practicing this Tonglen meditation with me. If you're interested in finding more meditation, information about mindfulness and how it can help, you can find me at Mindful Matters 585. Bye.